In 2016, a new TV show hit the digital airwaves and needed a podcast dedicated to chronicling its adventures. An elite team has been assembled for this task. Unfortunately, the world's listeners have not heard of this Wonder Twin duo. And although they may not be known now, in the future they will be referred to as tomorrow's legends.
Arrgh, I'd be looking for a crew. Any seaworthy scum around here?
Oh no, it's the Dread Pirate Quinn.
You there. Have you ever traveled the high seas?
No. I'm kind of what they call a land lover.
Ah, we'll be making a pirate out of you. Get to scrubbing them decks, or ye be walking the plank.
And now, here are your hosts, the fleet-footed Flash and his hammer-swinging partner, Harley Quinn.
Arr, you have made a pirate out of me.
Yes.
Captain Quinn be sailing the high seas and plundering and pillaging wherever she goes.
As long as I've got some rum.
That's the trick. Welcome, Legendaires, to Season 3, Episode 12, The Curse of the Earth Totem. I am the Flash.
And I'm Harley Quinn.
Hello, legends.
And hello, Gideon.
Hello.
You think she enjoyed being bombarded by cannonballs this week?
Probably not. If I were her, I would not.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, let's get into this one, our swashbuckling episode of the season. It was pretty fun. What did you think, Harley?
It was super fun. I gave this episode 9.25, the Dread Pirate Jiwe.
Whoa, that is high for you. Holy cow.
I know. I just really love Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's like why I love this entire episode. It really had that Pirates feel. Plus, I loved Mick and Amaya working together. How awesome was that?
It was cool.
Okay. I actually loved like all the moments with Mick in this episode. He had so many good moments, and I'm really looking forward to discussing them. And I actually really, really super enjoyed this bonding session with Rip and Wally. It was hysterical to me. I found it very funny.
Okay.
I think you may have a different opinion, but we'll get to that later. But then there's more. I mean, there's Avalanche, there's awesome fight scenes, there's Damien Darhk, and then Ray. Oh, poor Ray. It must be so terrible to be the only legend with a conscience. So I guess he's being held hostage now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we will discuss that. Well, I'm glad. I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed it as much as you did. It was, I mean, you sounded excited even just teasing me with the preview of it. But as soon as I saw that it was a pirate theme, I was really excited because I love Pirates of the Caribbean like you. I love a lot of pirate stuff. One of my favorite pirate movies of all time is Cutthroat Island with Gina Davis. If no one has seen Cutthroat Island, go check it out. It is, I mean, it was done, was it late 80s or early 90s? It's pure swashbuckling adventure and fun and outrageous action. I really like it. And it's probably got what I wished Pirates of the Caribbean did was have this all-out ship-to-ship, cannons against cannons just blowing each other apart. It was one of the most amazing battle sequences I've ever seen on the high seas. Have you seen that one, Harley?
If I have, it's been many years. It's not like immediately coming to mind by name, but that doesn't mean I haven't seen it.
Well, if you like pirates, I highly recommend it. So, yes. Anyway, so my rating is actually only a 7.5. Mick is in his element. And I know I know it seems low, and there's a few things we'll talk about it. I mean, this episode was a lot of fun. I just felt it lacked the polish and completeness of the last two episodes we've had. It was just a little, I think it was just somewhat disjointed and felt a bit all over the place when they were bouncing from pirates to date night to Rip and Wally. It wasn't as nice a smooth flow and connected feeling that we've had the last 2 weeks. So I still liked it. It was still fun because I do love the pirate stuff. What I really loved was Amaya as a pirate, where, you know, last week we had Zari get to have her own episode. I really felt this was Amaya's turn to shine. because she nailed the accent, she nailed the performance, she looked the part. I was totally buying into her being a pirate, and it really suited her as it suited Mick, because Mick fit right in, of course, as we knew he would. That seemed like his time period, his people, and I think he would have made a great first mate for any ship.
Oh, yeah.
The pirate setting was fantastic. They really did do a good setting, a good feel. And like I've been saying since the show began, since my first complaints of season 1, that the show needs to visit some really fun time periods. And when it does, like they just did, it turns out great and is so much fun. And I think one of the best scenes in this was well, actually not even part of the pirate scene, but one of the best scenes I thought was when Gideon called Sara on her cell to rat the team out. I don't know why, but I just found that hilarious and actually rewound it, because I just thought, a spaceship is phoning the cell phone in modern. Anyway, it was funny. I don't know, something about that, and I believe we have that in our quotes this week, but it was awesome.
Absolutely, we do. That was hysterical. It was more situational humor, but it's still a funny quote. It's just still funny. So yeah, of course it's there.
So, but all in all, like I love the pirate stuff. I just felt that we'll talk more about it. It was too much. The Wally and Rip stuff I don't think needed to be in this episode, because I thought we wasted too much time on their scenes, and we lost a lot of good pirate potential. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But anyway. Okay.
Well, I think it's funny that you bring up her nailing the accent, because I think her accent in this episode is closer to her real accent than she normally gets to speak. So
that was funny. Well, she really just put a lot of energy into it, and I think she got to have a lot of fun. So it was good. That's two good episodes back to back where one of our kind of side female characters really got to shine, and that's what I really liked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was great. I loved her.
All right. Well, we got just a tiny bit of news. Nothing really much other than reminders, so we'll just get to that right now.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
So all we did last week, we actually announced our contest giveaway, and we had said you guys have 2 weeks to get your entries in, and then we said due by March 2nd, which actually was only 1 week away. So me and Harley can't do math.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry about that.
We failed.
We just want to remind everyone you have an extra week until next, did we say it's Thursday or Saturday? No, we said Saturday, right? People have till Saturday. Yeah. Yes.
Just another week. Just add another week.
Add another week. To get your entries in. And we haven't actually got many in, so we're kind of feeling a little bit disappointed, guys. Come on, we're giving stuff away. It's really nice merchandise with our mugs on it. So really, really, we want to give something to you guys. So Harley, what are the 3 questions that we asked that fans have to answer correctly to win?
The 3 questions are, first, where do Flash and Harley live in real life? Number 2, where did the 2 of us first meet? And number 3, what other shows and episodes did Legends get backdoor piloted on? That was what we're trying to find out, is when was the backdoor pilot for Legends aired? What show, what episode? Yeah. You can tell us the name, you can tell us the number, the season, however you want to do it. Just, so we clearly know which show and episode you're talking about.
Exactly. And to get like a sneak peek at what you could choose to win, I posted a picture on our Facebook page today of me wearing one of our new Tomorrow's Legends shirts, and it looks great. I think the logo really pops nicely on the black shirts, so have a sneak peek at that, and you'll see what it looks like, and you can imagine what it'll look like on one of the hoodies or the t-shirts or whatever. And then I just want to also remind our Patreon supporters to let us know your t-shirt size and which shirt you want. I have only heard from half of you. There's a couple left. Get us in so we can make the order and send that stuff out to you guys for supporting us.
Yay!
Yeah, yay! That is all we got, Harley. So let's get into our show.
We now return you to our regularly scheduled podcast, currently in progress.
All right, what are we talking about first tonight?
All right, so we're going to tackle this one more or less chronologically by the main story points, because like you said, there's some points where they kind of jump back and forth and it gets a little choppy. So I figure let's start with the main storyline, which is all about our favorite Dread Pirate Jiwe. Just love saying
pirate,
that.
Yeah.
Plus, it reminded me of the Princess Bride as well. So,
I found it funny they kept saying Dread every time they had to bring her up. It was always the Dread Pirate Jiwe, not Captain Jiwe or anything, but the Dread Pirate Jiwe.
I know, it's like the Dread Pirate Roberts. No, you gotta get that infamy in there.
True. All right. Well, where are we going to start with her?
All right. So I want to start on the Wave Rider, where we have Ray, Mick, and Amaya. So they are discussing the 5 totems that we actually know about and postulating what the 6th one might potentially be with Ray's horrible drawing of demon Mollis.
But actually, the rest of his drawings were pretty cool. If you looked at all the totems, they actually looked pretty good.
They did. They were great. Not so much on the Mollis drawing. But anyway, I was really excited that they discussed all of the fire totems and that they mentioned specifically that the fire totem was smashed. And I guess it's in a museum in 2018. So it was destroyed, but not destroyed. I guess the pieces are in the museum in 2018. So I was just happy that they kept that consistent with the Vixen cartoon.
I kind of thought you would enjoy that continuity, because I still have yet to watch the 2nd season of the Vixen cartoon to see this fire totem being smashed and all that, so I got to do that. But I am glad that they are keeping it all connected, and because the CW fans tend to keep up with all that stuff, so that's very wise of them to do that. So it's good.
Yes, and especially since they did feature Ray Palmer in that episode.
Which, is also a cool connection. So
yeah, so they kind of are having to force them. It's kind of forcing their hand a little bit, which I like. I'm glad that they're doing it that way. So.
Now, was it our Ray that actually voiced the cartoon character as well?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm not actually sure if Brandon Routh did the voice or not. It's been a minute since I watched it, so I can't immediately recall if it was him or not. He may have, though. A lot of the actors voiced their own characters.
Yeah, I know Flash and Oliver did their voices, like Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin, so I'm assuming he did as well. It would only make sense.
Yeah, he probably did.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, well, next point. The Legends, as always, have this great, brilliant idea that while Sara goes off on her little date night, they're going to first go to Detroit, which I guess was approved. They were going to go to Detroit. And so they find out that Damien Darhk beat them to the punch, and now he has the fire totem. Still unclear on if the fire totem is usable, though, since it's, I guess... Are we assuming it's still smashed or not smashed? I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I would guess. I mean, we didn't even see it. It didn't come out. He didn't say, "Hey, look, I've got it now." So I have no idea. So which is
he just
kind of
left his
strange to
note.
me.
Yeah.
Why would he go grab the? This is where I'm confused. Did he grab the pieces, or did they go back in time a little bit just before it got smashed pieces? Is it in a museum whole? In one piece before it gets smashed, and that's the point he went and grabbed it, or did he go grab the pieces?
I thought they said they were in 2018.
Did they say 2018 in the museum? Okay, that's but even still.
I think it was Detroit 2018, which would mean it would be in pieces.
So why he can time travel? Why would he not go back in time and get it? That's
I honestly don't know. It's a great question. I have a lot of questions surrounding these totems.
Yeah, well, and that's part of. I should have said in my opening monologue. That's part of why my rating is a little bit lower. This episode had me questioning a lot of things that just it was either a frustrating question or a question or what WTF kind of. There's too many moments like that it brought it down a bit for me. So.
Gotcha.
But speaking of the totems, like he said, he's got the fire and the water totem because Kawasa's with them. But what my question is Kawasa, does she have the totem or is she the totem? Wait, has that been clarified yet?
It's not been specifically clarified, but I'm about 95% sure she just is the totem because she can transform into water at will. I feel like, because like all the other totems, one, we see them clearly worn around their necks, which I think is key.
And we don't
I think that's a
see-
key point.
Yeah.
And she never wears a totem at any point in time, but she can turn into water at will, whereas like Amaya summons spirits. She doesn't necessarily like turn into a tiger. And
But
the earth one that and like Zari summons air. I mean, she doesn't physically turn into air. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like since she physically transforms, like she is the totem. Like there's no separating it from her. Like it's turned her into a meta, basically, is how I'm thinking of it.
Yeah, so I wonder how that's going to come into play when they want to combine the totems or what's going on, you know.
Yeah, we're still not even sure what they're going to do with them, if they can figure out if anyone can acquire all, I guess, 6 of them, and if they can even figure out what 6 is. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and what do? They just drink Kwasa, and that's
yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like you said, there's a lot of mystery still surrounding this, which makes sense. I kind of like that we're only getting little snippets of this here and there, because it clearly is the mystery that's kind of dragging out over the whole season, that, you know, and the whole thing with Mollis. Mm-hmm. So we've gotten a bit more about Mollis to like fill that in recent stories. So now we're kind of getting little bits of the totems to kind of fill that in. So,
well, I do have to say, even though they are dragging, I don't want to say dragging out has a negative sound to it. The storyline is going the course of the season with Mollis and what's going on there. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, I really find that Legends is doing it better. That like the story is weaving its way into our weekly episodes a lot better than, and I'm going to harp on Flash again, but the way Flash and the Thinker is doing, I cannot buy into the Thinker storyline at all this season. It's really disappointing. The writers have really failed this season. So I'm happy with what Legends are doing. It's kept us interested in Mollis, and just by the little tidbits that, you know, every episode we get a little bit more, and then all of a sudden we'll have an episode where it's full on all about what Mollis is doing. So it's really, I don't know, it's done so much better, I think.
I agree. It's being done really, really well. Like every week, I mean, the writers continue to impress me. So I do. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to talk about the Earth Totem? Because that's kind of the next place that we go. So this was the unplanned visit while Sara was out on her date. They all vote to go to 1717, which, you know, is just going to be a giant disaster just because it's Legends.
But you know what? I just have to say, on a personal note, it makes me want to go there because like 17 is my number. So that's like the best year ever.
Yeah.
1717. I'd love to go there and be in the Caribbean. Come on.
It sounds like great fun. I'm just saying.
So they leave her behind, or they leave without her knowing, I guess.
Yeah, she doesn't really know they're gone.
Not yet.
Not yet. But this kind of brings everything back a little bit, like to the opening scene. So this was in the opening scene, we saw, I guess, Blackbeard's girlfriend, for lack of a better term, basically put on the totem and kind of get taken over by it. And we don't really get an explanation as to what's really happening to that later on in the episode. So I don't know if you want to tackle that here or tackle that later, but how did you kind of feel about this?
Yeah, that's kind of where I had a bit of a sticking point, because I'm thinking, like, why he was carrying the necklace the whole time and wasn't bothered by it at all, but as soon as he gives it to her, she gets affected by it and possessed or whatever the heck's going on. Like we'll talk about later, but you know, it intensifies whatever that is inside the person. Mm-hmm. So then I was thinking, is it because you have to wear it? Blackbeard just had it in a pocket in his coat. Mm-hmm. So maybe once you wear it around your neck, that's when its effects take over. I mean, because I do
think that's the key, because they're all physically wearing the necklaces to make them work. The only difference between this quote unquote cursed Earth Totem and at least the 2 we've seen in action, maybe even all of them we've seen in action, but I'm not remembering the cartoon as well right now. But like Zari has to like activate hers. Amaya has to activate hers. But the Earth Totem completely took her over. And so I don't know if that's a function of the totem or just the fact that she's not the person who's supposed to be wearing it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we didn't actually see her activate or anything. It just immediately took over. So, that's a good point, because it could be, if it's somebody that's not worthy, then the necklace, I don't know if so much takes over, but that's kind of like the protection or the curse that's on it, and they kind of become evil, or the necklace enhances it. I mean, that's what Amaya said. She says it takes on the soul of the bearer, and since that lady, I think her name was Anne.
Annie, I think.
Annie, yeah. So Annie was wicked and evil, so the totem just enhances that. Which is, but how, see, okay, maybe that's not a protection for the necklace, because the necklace is empowering the person to become stronger, and she's obviously able to defend herself, so. But I guess essentially that is a curse, because the person obviously becomes this undead-looking kind of creature, so that's the fate you suffer if you're not meant to have a necklace, so, I don't know, maybe they'll explain it more.
Yeah, I want some more information there, because I am just really curious, I guess, as to how they work. And that's the only one we've seen the quote unquote improper person attempt to wield. I don't think we've seen anyone else try on, outside of like Mari using the spirit totem, but that's also her birthright. So that makes sense that she's able to do it. I mean, Zari, it's been established that the air totem is her family's heirloom for whatever reason. How those are connected, I'd still like to know. And then I know at one point the dude that took over the fire one in the cartoons, he was some like evil warlord or something like that, and he kind of went power crazy. So I'm wondering if that is similar to like what the Earth Totem did to this person, although it seemed like he was consciously able to control it, whereas this one she was not. So I don't know why that's different.
See,
maybe that's why this one's cursed. I don't know.
Who knows? And I'm still wondering about Zari's connection, because you remember way back when we introduced her, she was the wife, or supposed to have been the wife of Black Adam, who is the nemesis to Shazam. And there is now a Shazam movie being made, so I wonder if somehow, some way, they're going to weave a connection into all of that story. I know DC doesn't connect their TV and movies very much, but since Shazam, that whole world is going to be there, we are going to see a lot of that story, so I wonder. I just wonder. And I mean, Shazam has the power of lightning and air and thunder, so it's kind of air related, so I don't know, we'll see. I'm curious.
Interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. I think we've kind of talked to that point a bit much, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this. This was one of the first scenes that we see Mick starting to reach out to everyone on the team and kind of start to like bond with them, and I loved it. It was so great. Like, it's kind of like he was embracing, kind of how we ended last episode with his, his last line of his book, that Buck finally found his family. So it seems like maybe he took that a little bit to heart.
I think so. The way I'm seeing it, it's like he understands everyone. He knows their tells, their body language, their, kind of like a poker player who knows the table. That's what he seems to. He has a read on everybody like that. And he seems to know, just in a very blunt and brutally honest way, he seems to know what everyone needs, and he just lays it out for them flat on the table, like, here it is. This is what you got to do. And they don't want to accept it. They don't want to hear it yet, and yet they always come around and like, geez, Mick was right. Like, it should be just as simple as Mick lays it out, but they all complicate things all the time, where Mick is just like, here it is, and that's it.
Exactly. I mean, I loved it. I mean, he was just he was bonding with Amaya, like, over shots. I mean, she comes up and like immediately grabs one of his, so he can tell something's wrong, and he's just like, what's up? And she's, kind of brushes him off, and he's like, I said, what's up? Like, I just love that he pushed the issue. He didn't just be like, okay, whatever, you don't want to talk to me. And so this was very interesting, and I'm not going to lie, it kind of makes my head hurt. But we learn in this scene that she is extremely conflicted because she basically, after interacting with Kuasa now over, the last however many episodes, she wants to basically improve her past. But if she does that, there's a very strong possibility she'll completely change Mari's future, who's the current vixen. So, I mean, that in and of itself is kind of mind-boggling, but you have to consider that none of that can even happen until she goes back to 1942, marries someone else, and then ensures her granddaughters are born.
That's okay. I mean, there's a lot in there to unpack, but you just said something that she said in the episode that is the key to so much debate that we've been talking about. She actually says she has to leave Nate and go marry someone else. In my mind, that solves the who's going to be the father issue. We can put that to rest now. It's not going to be Nate.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So whether she eventually leaves the show, I mean, really, I mean, they're on a time travel. If the show lasts 10 seasons, she could stay with us the whole time, and she's on a time ship. She can go back to her time period and fix everything anyway. So it really doesn't matter. They can totally write around that. We don't have to worry about losing her as a character.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't
mean,
really want to lose her, but
the other stuff with her, I mean, it is a pretty heavy decision. She wants to change her past. She's starting to think a little bit like Zari now. And because she wants to give Kawasa a better future and not have to suffer what she suffered. But in doing that, she might screw up Mari's future, where Mari obviously has a really nice, I don't know, nice is the right word, but she has a good life and has become a hero. So, again, it comes back to that whole stuff all the way back to season 1, Snart wanting to, teach his dad a lesson. So that he doesn't abuse him when he's a kid, and it still ends up happening anyway. This might be one of those things where it's set in stone. Time has already solidified. That won't be able to be changed. It's done.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if we're gonna come back to that because they've kind of drifted away from their, time travel rules that they were trying to set up in the first season, which is fine. I mean, a lot of stuff has changed, and that, may just mean that the rules have changed or that they're different now. But I would be interested to see if we get back to that concept of like time wants to happen and time needs to happen, or if they're kind of just going to leave it a little loose and open-ended so they don't have to be as strict with the writing.
Yeah. Well, and also that other concept that we said that certain things will happen no matter what. So no matter how many times you change something, like you said, time wants to happen. So that certain, how did Rip put it in the first season? Certain things they're like key points in time that will happen no matter what. They always have to happen.
Yeah, that's more or less what he said.
I think he used the example like Jesus dying on the cross is one of them or something like that. So yeah, there's... Anyway, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so that was interesting, and I think that again, in typical Legends fashion, 2 sentences kind of put to rest a lot of debate.
Yeah,
that we've been having. Yeah, that's what I think too. So I'm glad we're on the same page there. All right. So I love that Mick actually created this whole Dread Pirate Jiwe persona because it was awesome the way that he did it, and it just had that pirate's feel to it. And plus, he did it to kind of like kind of lift up her spirits, and he was just like, she needs this. She needs to let loose. And, Nate and Ray are like immediately on board with it. Like, it was great. It had one of my favorite lines of the episode, which is not really funny or serious. It just was one of my favorite lines. And it was Ray just jumping in and saying, "That's because dead men tell no tales." It was just so in character and so great. I loved it.
It was so awesome. I love, like you were saying with Mick, that it's the fact that he recognized and acknowledged that she's down and out and needs a pick-me-up. And he goes to tell Ray and Nate, and he's like, "Guys, she needs this." And yeah. They like he was essentially, he's kind of becoming the backbone, like we were saying a little bit earlier. He's kind of become the backbone of this team. They're all, without realizing it, he's the support behind everybody right now. And it's really neat because Mick still is his tough guy persona and everything, but he in the way he goes about doing things, he's showing how much he actually cares for these guys, which ends up becoming the novel that he has found his family now. I really think that's coming into play. You were bang on with that. And it's so heartwarming, and it's so weird to say that about Mick Rory. Like, it's funny.
I mean, Ray nailed it on the head. He really has become a better person.
Yeah.
So I hate to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
way to go, Mick. So yeah, and it's awesome because as much as we're gonna miss Snart, I think Mick is really stepping into that role, and he might actually even be doing it better than at least equal to what Snart was doing in season 1. I think it's Mick's right in there.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring that back, and I think it's working incredibly well, especially with this character. I really like it.
Yeah. And then a little point I wanted to say when you had said when Ray and Nate were buying into it, and Ray's like, that's because dead men tell no tales. Ray, for the first time, didn't mess anything up. He was bang on with it and right in line with all of them, because he's always the one that seems to trip up on, playing a part. So it was a great scene for Ray even to just be right on and in line with everybody. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was very shocking that that part of the scene went off without a hitch. I was like, oh, they're doing it. Oh my, this is great. I love this.
And he used a movie line too, which is what Nate usually does. So
I know.
It was awesome.
It was super great. Oh man. All right. Do you want to talk about the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, sure.
So this cracked me up that they apparently landed in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. Like, of all places to put like this incredibly advanced technological machine right in the Bermuda Triangle.
I guess she didn't actually land. She was still up in the sky, like she was hovering somewhere. Yeah.
True. But
that's where things go missing.
That's where all sorts of things go haywire. Electronics don't work properly. Whatever conspiracy theories you want to throw out there.
Oh, it's paranormal stuff. I've been listening to some paranormal podcasts lately, and they just actually did one about the Bermuda Triangle, and I find this stuff fascinating. And there is something that goes on, whether it has to do with magnetics being all screwed up or whatever. Like
magnetism.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things, and stuff does happen. Things have gone missing. Ships and planes have gone missing. How do you explain it? They can science their way out of it all they want, but it still is kind of unexplained. So I just love that they use that in this episode, and it's screwing up with the Wave Rider. It's cool.
Because science. Anyway. I found it horribly amusing that Zari immediately gets a little bit defensive. She's like, hey, look, I didn't do anything this time. After everything that happened last week, really hope she wouldn't be doing anything else this time.
But they really didn't make her part of the episode, though. She had nothing in this. She stayed on the ship. She didn't do anything.
She probably needed a break, poor girl.
I guess, but come on. All they did was give her that line about she hates her new hairdo. Like, there really wasn't much for her.
I know. I'm hoping she'll get a little bit more to do next week, and that they literally were just giving her a break since she was the entire episode, the one right before.
But I like her so much. I wanted to see her as a pirate too.
I know, but someone had to stay on the ship. That's what I hate, is someone always kind of has to stay on the ship. It's kind of like their default of, this is how we're going to work with a large cast. Yeah. We're just going to, at different points, like, this person will be on the ship. So, it works, but I agree. I always want to see more of her. I always want to see more of all of them. I mean, there's not a bad character on the show. That's the problem.
No, yeah, we got rid of the bad ones, so mostly.
We did. All right. Well, the key point about them being in the Bermuda Triangle is that for some reason, Rate and A go back to the ship without everybody else. I didn't quite get that. And then I guess that was kind of one of those things I guess this will kind of come back in my nitpick, but for future reference, this is one of the TV convenience things I was talking about. And so they're all on the ship. Everything's kind of going a little crazy, and they have to time jump away and then strand them in 1717. Convenient, right?
I guess, yeah.
Anyway, I loved it, but at the same time, a little convenient, but
well,
all right.
I mean, it just made the situation a little bit more dire, I guess.
It did. But this next scene that we get was one that I wasn't fully expecting. Well, I wasn't expecting all of this to happen. So Dark shows up with his daughter. He's posing as a British admiral. That, I guess, makes sense. What I didn't expect him to do was to actually take Amaya's spirit totem. I totally did not see that coming at all.
No, not, and just like that, it happened so quick, and to me it seemed just way too easy. And this is one of the questions, okay, if he can just do that, just do his little magical, I can control you with my hand, like Jedi Force powers. Why hasn't he just done that all the times before they faced him? This is one of the things I was bugging. I was like, okay, that was way too easy. He could have done this at any time, because he can time travel. He could just show up on the ship, Jedi Force hold them, grab all the stuff he wants, and disappear. That obviously we wouldn't have a show if he did that. So they just made it look too easy. And then the team, to me, seems really unable to do anything against him every time he does that. And that's the one thing that's bugging me, because it's reminding me of Arrow. The way the magic didn't work on Arrow with him. He was too powerful. Not a single person on Arrow could do anything to stop him. And just seeing how easy this scene was kind of gave me a bit of a twitch. That's a little too close.
Yes, I agree. I will, just to alleviate, well, maybe not all of that, but just the comment about him coming on board the Wave Rider. I have a theory of why he doesn't do that. And until they make him do it, we'll just assume that I'm right.
Okay.
And it has to do with them being in the temporal zone, because they're not technically anywhere in time. And I think the little time rune has to specifically be in time.
He has to actually be able to pick a decade or
concrete time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. That is complete scientific sense to me.
Yay! Okay, so we'll go at least with that part. But yeah, this is not TV convenience. It's just Damien Darhk is too powerful convenience. And I agree. I was getting era flashbacks.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if he's got full control of his power and he's got Nora with him, anytime the Legends face him, he could just do that. And it comes back to a scene a little bit later too, when he gets into a sword fight with Amaya. Why is he? Is he just toying? Is he just having fun? I'm just gonna have a little sword battle with you because we saw him fight with Sara, so he wants to test Amaya. So he's just having fun. Really, he could just break her neck at any given time, any moment, like he did to the Anne character. Yeah,
and I think specifically at that point, because Nora even says it, and this is the point, when she kind of captured her, she's basically we're just doing this just because. She's we can kill you at any time. And then that's the point where she starts to drain her life force up. So yeah, I do think in some respects they're kind of just toying with them, or maybe they think it's fun. Right. So it's they want to see how far they can get before they just bring out their powers and end it all. Well,
when Nora sucks their life force out, it makes her more powerful, doesn't it? Is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe,
does it?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Maybe that's why he doesn't kill everybody, because he wants Nora to be able to get close enough to drain their life energies. Because maybe it powers Mollis more.
Ooh, maybe Mollis is feeding on that energy or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I hadn't actually thought about that or put that connection together.
Yeah. Well, that just came to me now too. So interesting.
That is interesting. All right. So we've kind of been jumping quite a bit around the end of our notes here, but I think we've kind of covered most of this.
Yeah.
There's, we were, I had a note to talk about Blackbeard, but I think you wanted to cover that in your nitpick. So I say we just save that for then.
Okay, sure.
And then we've kind of covered on the Curse of the Earth Totem. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about there?
Well, you had a scene here. You were talking about Amaya captaining the pirate ship, because I
Yeah.
was like, what, when? And I actually had to go back and rewatch it before we got online here today. I had to look for it, and when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, that is such a cool scene. You're right.
It was like straight out of the first one, and it wasn't like a Captain Jack Sparrow scene. It was a Barbossa scene where, like, right out of the first one, where he's like captaining the ship and they're going off to look for the cursed treasure. I mean, it just was straight out of Pirates. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Oh man. All right. Well, maybe I should talk about Rip and Wally real quick about these little scenes.
Sure. I mean, yeah. No,
because we'll get back to these ending. We'll get back to these ending fight scenes. There's more on that later. So,
yeah, but it's okay. We'll say what you want to say. I'll add my little bit, and we'll come back to it. That's okay. Talk about Rip and Wally, because there's a lot of fans I see that really enjoyed this. So yeah, talk about them. It's all right.
I thought this was hilarious. But we learned why Wally has, kind of gone on a walkabout, as Rip puts it. I liked the way that he termed that. That made a lot of sense. He's heartbroken over Jesse. Also, he doesn't fit in on Team Flash, and they don't know how to use him. Both, in the figurative storyline and literally in the writer's room.
Yeah.
So, he really is kind of an outcast, and I just kind of felt bad for him. But it was nice to hear him verbalize, this is why I left.
Yeah, some of that I can feel feeling bad for him, but I think, I don't know, he didn't win me over on the Flash to a point where I feel bad for him, that I felt bad for the character. I don't really honestly care. I didn't really like him on the Flash. He didn't fit in. And right now, so far what they've done, I'm not really liking him here. I just hope they really find a way to make him fit on the team. If they do this outcast idea, because that's what our Legends really are, is a bunch of misfits and outcasts, and they've come together. If they take that angle and find a way to write him in where he fits, then it should be okay. It's this angsty teenager vibe with him that really bugs me, and I didn't like it on the Flash, and I don't want it on Legends. So I hope he grows up real quick. And
I don't think they'll bring the angst with him. I think they were just kind of looking for an explanation. Things weren't working, and so they just were finding ways to kind of get him off the show and tie up his storylines. But I thought that the shenanigans with like pantsing Gary and stealing his time courier to get Rip's trench coat, I mean, I thought that was very amusing. Plus, like, the karaoke, I loved it. I thought it was great. I liked them singing together.
I reserve to comment until later.
All right, well, you can say what you didn't like about it later. I just thought these scenes were funny, and I really like them as kind of like a duo. They were quippy. They were, I don't know, they were fun for me.
All right, no, that's fair. You and all the fans that love that scene, you guys can enjoy it. I will not tarnish your enjoyment until my nitpick.
And I know trying to convince you is going to be useless. So at that point, I will let you say your piece. But just everybody out there can know that I loved this scene.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right. Well, let's move on and talk about Avalanche, because I thought these were pretty good. Yes. There's a lot of short little scenes, so we can kind of cover a lot of ground here. But they basically have the world's most awkward first date. Ava has apparently read Sarah's personnel file, so there's no secrets.
Yeah.
I was like, that's super awkward. We've already briefly discussed Gideon's voicemail and that it was the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm. It was.
And the Wave Rider crashes out of the sky, of course, to interrupt the date, so Sarah has to leave.
Of course, the date would not go well. It matched the fact that the kind of date they were on didn't suit them anyway. So of course, it's going to end the way it ended.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was nice to see them in like civilian clothes and looking all, nice and pretty. But yeah, you're right. A normal first date did not suit them at all.
No, and they actually touched on it later on when I think it was Ava that said, I would rather. Or no, Sarah said, let's go fight Genghis Khan next. And she's like, yeah, I'd rather, fight anybody with you any day, kind of something along those lines. And I thought, yeah, that's more what I would expect from them. You want to go on a first date? Yeah, all right, let's go beat up these ninjas. Yeah, like, whatever.
What mission can I take you? This sounds great.
Yeah, so.
Oh, man. So she kind of stood her up, which was kind of rough. And then Ava turns up on the Wave Rider and confronts her, which was hilarious.
Well, yeah, but did she really stand her up? I'm going to defend Sara here because I don't think she did. Ava's the one who left first to go to sneak away to talk to Gary. And that's when Sara saw the Wave Rider crashing. And she obviously, well, Ava's not around. I got to go. This is an emergency. So it should be understood. There shouldn't have been an issue with it. Really? So.
I don't think there was a true issue with it, but it was just kind of, yeah, they needed, well, I mean, I guess they could have come up with any number of reasons, but the way that everything was flowing, they needed a reason to get her back on the Wave Rider. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, having her have to investigate, some anachronism that the legends have once again caused, worked out pretty well. And bonus, she got to, confront Sara, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
But they do finally kiss.
Yes.
They took.
I mean, it
12 episodes.
But it was so good. We'll talk about this in a bit, but it was a good scene. It was a great transition into that kiss. Mm-hmm. And that led into the fight coming right after it. It was a good scene all around. I mean, I love the only two weapons that she grabs are a super long flute and a cane of some kind or something. Cane.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, that flute would hurt to get smacked across the face with.
I'm sure it would. Yeah. It was just amusing to me because, I was like, what is she grabbing? And then at the end when they're holding Blackbeard at not sword point, I was like, that is a flute. That is definitely a flute. That is hilarious.
Yeah, good stuff.
I know. Well, I loved this whole, I don't know if you want to talk about the fight scenes, but I loved this whole montage of fights where it was kind of transitioning from the people on the island. This was, I think, the start of the sword fight with Darhk and Nora. And then it transitions back to the Wave Rider where they're fighting with Blackbeard, and it kind of goes back and forth for a while. And I thought that was pretty fun. Yeah, no,
it was the fight sequences were well done, especially the ones with Amaya when she's, they're all about to get their heads chopped off and they're up there fighting. That felt very Pirates-like, and yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. All right. So the last little bits we have to talk about, this is where I think we said we were going to come back to it, was Amaya. She basically was trying to talk Annie down to get her to take the totem off. Mm-hmm. But then that just ends up distracting her so that Damien Darhk can kill her. So then...
Yeah, so that... to interrupt you here, okay. I was surprised because Annie, with the Earth Totem, overpowered Darhk and Nora. And it wasn't until she got distracted that he was able to use his power on her. So I was trying to figure that out. So was he able or not able to use his power when she was in control of hers, or she just overpowered him? I mean, they didn't really show that. They didn't really dive into it. But the fact that he said, "Thanks for distracting her," break her neck. I was surprised. The Earth Totem all by itself overpowered him.
Well, I think the element of surprise is kind of key with these things. Yeah. So he wasn't expecting what happened to happen. And so I think she was able to kind of get the upper hand. And I think there's a split second where you see him laying on the ground with his eyes closed. So I think we're supposed to believe he was knocked out for a few minutes. And then she binds Nora up with the vines, which I'm guessing probably is going to have a similar effect to we know that if Zari touches Mollis, it kind of freaks out. So I'm wondering if maybe the Earth Totem wasn't necessarily hurting her because she didn't have Mollis in, Mollis summoned at that point, but that because it's a vine, she can overpower her and she can't suck the life force out of the vine or whatever, she normally would.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I agree with where you're going with that.
Okay. So that's kind of where I was coming with that one. And then this is the point where they get into the sword fight and just ignore the fact that the Darks have powers. I think they're just toying with them.
Right.
Because as soon as Amaya gets the other upper hand, Nora summons Mollis and then starts draining her life force. So that's kind of, there's nothing you can do about that. Like, that's why I kind of think they're toying with them, which, I mean, for us is kind of like frustrating in some senses, but I don't know. I guess that's just what they're supposed to be doing.
I think, and the only thing that I have in question is the length of time that Nora has her hand on them. Like, because she grabbed Amaya for a few seconds and Amaya was able to get away. But then we'll talk about it in a bit, she grabs Ray for what seemed like the same amount of time and he's completely out. So we'll get to that point in a little bit later. So I'm just wondering about the time here. Like, how does it depend on who she grabs? If it's a normal person, they get knocked out faster. If it's someone who has some kind of power, it takes her longer. Like, I don't know. There's something to do with the length of time she can hang on to them, because obviously we saw what she did to Sara a few episodes ago.
That's true.
Coma, so
she did have hold of Sara quite a lot longer. Yeah. And it felt like she grabbed Amaya. Okay, so let's talk about this. So for this scene, it felt like she grabbed Amaya, Nate screamed, Ray shoots her with the gun, and then it interrupts like pretty quickly. Whereas when she grabbed Nate, I felt like she had hold of Ray. Just a bit, not quite as long maybe as Sara, but definitely longer than Amaya, so much so that it knocks him out.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of that was how I, read the scene.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's you just brought it up. Let's touch on that point. And Ray shoots her when she's got a hold of Amaya.
Yes. The nanite gun works.
And
good news.
Yeah. And it seemed to have a really strong effect. Now, I wish they explained what it did, because we're not quite sure what it's doing to her on the inside, but you can see all this glowing stuff happening to her. So I don't know what's going on. Or did they explain it?
I don't think they really explained it. They explained what the nanite pistol replicates. I mean, it replicates the heat gun and the cold gun crossing streams, and you get that crazy amount of energy for whatever reason. So that's what it's supposed to mimic. And so I guess when that happens inside of her body, I don't know if it's because it's destroying the bond with Mollis, or if it's just because having that much energy in your body is literally tearing your body apart. I don't know. They were unclear as to how that worked.
Well, she kind of looked like she was paralyzed. Like she was went all stiff and rigid and could not really move.
Yeah. It definitely had a fatal wound kind of feel to it.
But internally,
for sure.
Exactly. It was causing something on the inside, muscle, what do you call it, atrophy or whatever. She went stiff and rigid and couldn't move. She was completely paralyzed. So
yeah. I'm wondering if maybe they'll flesh that out next week. Maybe they'll grill Ray. What did you do to her on those? Whatever. Maybe he'll have to fill in some some information there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we talk about the very ending scenes with Ray, I just wanted to bring up the final tally of the totems. It's Legends 2, Darks 3, because we don't know where 6 is. Because we have Earth and Air. The Darks have Water, Fire, and Spirit, because, Kawasa works for them. So I'm counting that as them having water.
Yeah.
And then we have no idea about the 6th.
Well, I have my theories that some people seem to like.
Well, yeah, you've got your theories.
But yeah, and this was this episode kind of at the end of it, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know what? That actually went kind of fast. All the totems except for this mysterious 6th one are in play now. And they all have them. They're split between the bad guys and the good guys. So I thought, wow, okay, they're all in play. So what are they going to do from here? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. There's going to have to be some sort of balancing at some point because I feel like one side or the other is going to have to get them all for anything to happen. We've only got, what, 5 episodes left?
Yeah, that's true. But still, there's a lot of storytelling in 5 episodes, so.
That there is. And then I feel like there's, still some ground we can cover there, flesh some different stuff out, get more backstory on Zari. There's stuff they can do. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to chat about Ray to kind of close it out?
Let's finish off with Ray here because that was our resident Boy Scout, awesome, nice guy. I don't like seeing him go down and out when he is just trying to help. That was kind of hard to watch.
I know. I agree. It was hard to watch. I, again, loved that Mick reaches out to him. Mm-hmm. He kind of makes it seem like it's the last resort, but that's kind of just Mick's way of being like, dude, you need a beer. Here, have a beer with me.
Yeah.
He's not going to be all like warm and fuzzy and be like, I know you needed to talk kind of deal, but that's his way of reaching out.
That's his way of doing it. And I really liked that scene, and it's in our quotes because we haven't had a Mick and Ray buddy moment since season 1 when they were in prison together, and Ray got beat up for Mick to protect Mick. So it was really cool to see that they still kind of have that silent bro thing going on. That's what I felt from this, and it was really cool.
I agree. It was great. Why? So maybe you can clarify this point for me. Does Ray just leave? I was confused as why Mick didn't go with him for backup. Did he not know that's where he was going?
I don't think Mick had a clue. I think they had a little chat, and I think at the end of their chat you could see Ray kind of thinking about it. And that scene probably ended, and Ray decided on his own, I'm going to go back and try to get her. I think he just, it was his own thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, he turns up to save Nora. I'm not sure what was more surprising. The fact that, Darhk doesn't even hesitate. Not even 1 second, he immediately tosses the totem to Ray.
Yeah.
Or that, well, I guess I'm not surprised by this next point. That Nora she's not soft about it at all. There is nothing of that, little girl left that recognizes that, Ray helped me once.
Although she almost tricked everyone for a second. I know she tricked Ray, but she even tricked Damien too, because he was looking at her like, oh, she knows this guy. Oh, you could see the look on Damien's face that she was fooling him too. So there was a moment there that I thought she's probably her, and this is where I was struggling with it. Is she actually fully playing Ray in that moment, or there was a moment when he injected the cure into her, she was just herself. For those few seconds, it was Nora, and she recognized Ray, and then Mullis took back over again, within her, because she's obviously possessed, she's evil, she's got this thing inside her, took over again, and that's when she grabs his throat.
She didn't have the red eyes. I think she's too far gone, and she was acting.
No, yeah, I know she didn't have the red eyes, but I think she's more evil than Damien, but like I said, I just think there was a second there because she even fooled Damien. I think there was a moment when she was Nora from that Ray was recognizing, or Ray remembered as a kid. I think I don't know. I'd love to hear some feedback on that, but.
Yeah, I think people will be on opposite sides of that. I thought she was playing him. She was kind of reaching out like Ray, so that he doesn't flinch or back up or try and run away, so that he stays there, kind of leans in, and then she just grabs him. Goes for the kill.
Okay, but like I said, she fooled even Damien. You look at that scene again. Look on his face. He's even surprised. What? Yeah. She recognizes him. Because I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew about the scene in the hospital with her and Ray. So
probably not about the one in the hospital, but he knew that they've interacted because he was in the coffee shop. So
yeah, but yeah. Okay, well, I'm curious. I will see.
Yeah.
Of course, once she started touching his face, that's when I was like, oh my God, I see it coming. Ray, move, don't.
I know.
And then you see that happen to him, and I'm like, what? Oh man, he's knocked out. how long is he going to be out for? Are we going to miss Ray in an episode now? Or is the next episode, I'm guessing, is going to be rescuing him? But what are they going to do with him? Are they going to use him as a trade? Are they going to use him as bait? That's what I'm guessing. He's going to be bait. It sucks to see Ray get hurt. It sucks to see him in a situation because he's our resident nice guy. He never deserves any pain of any kind. He's just too much of a nice guy. And it sucks to see that.
I know. Ugh. Like I said, it must be terrible to have a conscience on Team Legends.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
All right, let's get to our nitpicks. Let's see what we found for this week's episode.
Form of water.
What did you find?
Okay. I've already kind of mentioned that there's just a lot of TV convenience on this episode. But the one thing that really did like bother me as a nitpicky thing is the fact that Damien Darhk doesn't have a British accent. He doesn't even try to have a British accent. No one found this odd of a British admiral. The others had British accents, but he very obviously does not.
I guess the actor couldn't pull it off. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know.
Unless the
I
British
just
Army
thought it was
is into
funny.
hiring Americans to lead their naval ships. I don't know.
Well, in 1717, the Americas didn't
There was no
technically
Americans. Yeah, you're right.
exist. So, anyway, I just thought it was funny.
Do you have
Yeah.
any more though? Because
No, I mean, I rated this episode pretty high. I thought it was a ton of fun. Like I said, some of the TV convenience stuff kind of bothered me, but I gave it a 9.25. I mean, I don't really,
Well, that's
I don't really
like
have
last
a lot.
week. Yeah, there was not much for you to complain about.
Yep. So I will let you kind of
Rant.
run with, get all your stuff you hated off your chest.
Well, I got two, and these are the things that bugged me the most, that other than what I've already said, that really dragged it down in points for me. And the first was Blackbeard being a coward. What I hate with TV shows and movies when they choose to write an alternate version of something. They take a famous character that is well known for one thing, and with Blackbeard, he's well known for being fierce and everyone's scared of him, and he's this pirate that runs the seas and don't mess with Blackbeard kind of thing. And they change that and they try to be funny about it. It ruins the reputation of him. It ruins the story about Blackbeard. Anyone that is into pirates at all knows about Blackbeard. So it bothers me when they want to rewrite that and try to be funny about it by making him the exact opposite of what his reputation says. So that bothered me. I don't like when they do that. Just leave him alone.
That stuff doesn't bother me. I actually do find it funny. I was very amused that just Mick's reaction. He's like, Blackbeard's a coward? What? It's great. I just thought it was funny.
But I feel, there was another episode this year when Mick got disappointed by one of his idols. Which one was that?
Oh dear. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
but you're right. There was another one.
So, but this is what I mean. I feel the same as Mick. You don't want to be let down by seeing somebody you look up to or someone that you think has this badass reputation and they're not. Like, that's, anyway, that's just part of it that this bugs me. Not just of course the two things that drive me crazy are the two things that you love, and this is kind of funny that we're so
Yep.
different on this, because the Rip and Wally stuff, not funny at all, and I'll tell you why. And this is me, Flash in real life, personal thing here. I can't stand drunk people. They drive me crazy. They're the most annoying people on the planet. I don't find them funny at all. And I found this whole karaoke singing thing was gag inducing, fast forward worthy. Like, the only part I liked was their very last scene together when they were, Wally gave them some headache medicine and water, and they kind of had a little chat and what they're going to do, how's Rip going to get him on the ship. That whole scene was great. Just to have that. I just don't like drunk people. It drives me crazy in real life. I cannot stand them, and so this whole thing is just not funny to me. the other part with that is I like I said earlier, this Rip and Wally stuff did not need to be in this episode at all. We wasted so much time. Like they probably had 12 minutes or so of screen time that could have been dedicated to pirate stuff, which is what we loved and which was the best part about this episode. And I think we got shortchanged because of the Rip and Wally stuff. So, there.
I think I liked the bonding stuff with them. I thought it was quite funny. Drunk people don't bother me quite as much as they bother you. I loved the drunk Barry stuff too. So you hated that.
I hated that. Yeah.
Since the theme here.
And there was another episode this season when one of the legends, was it Nate that was drunk and telling everybody the last Western episode? Who
was it? The one where he gets high on the route? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, that's it. That's my nitpick. Let's get into quotes of the week. How's that?
Sounds great.
Shape out and eagle!
All right. What was our winner from last week?
Our winner was artificial humor.
Surprising. We had so many good ones from last week. I didn't think this one was going to win, though.
I didn't either, but it's a good one.
Awesome. Well, here it is.
One last question. Gary. Why even have him in the time loop if he was just going to be stuck in the trash compactor the whole time?
Thought it'd be funny.
Like there really isn't even much to it, but her being snarky.
I know.
Surprising.
I think everyone just loved the fact that Gary was there the whole time and stuck in a trash compactor.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, what did you find this week?
All right, our first quote is hot date.
We need to tell Sarah we gotta get to Detroit.
Nope. She's off to Star City. She's been texting some guy. They're going on a date.
How do you know? Are you looking at her phone?
I look at everyone's phone. Helps pass the time.
Well, who's she going on a date with?
Obviously, it's Ava.
Oh, that's hot.
Just Mick, like, he's just so blunt and he's such a pig sometimes, but it's just so funny.
It's so matter of fact with him. He doesn't. I look at everyone's phones. Like, what's the big deal? What do you know? It's me. I'm not gonna stop.
Do you not read everyone's phone?
Exactly. So funny. All right, what's number 2?
All right, the second one is Little Rat.
I'm sure it's nothing. It's a voicemail. I'm just gonna listen.
It wasn't my idea, but the team has taken the Wave Rider on a joyride to the Bahamas 1717 in a futile attempt to locate the missing Earth totem. Just thought you should know.
Just thought you should know.
I don't know. Even though I love the pirate stuff, that was my favorite little moment, I think. Just
That and Ray's Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yeah, but it's just something about the fact that Gideon, a AI spaceship, is phoning Sarah on her cell phone. It's just it's a funny concept. I don't know.
I agree. It's hilarious, and I loved it.
All right, and number 3 is
Drunken Confessions.
Look, I can do one better than that, mate. Both of my favourite prodigies conspired to have me put in prison.
What happened?
Well, I lied to Sarah in addition to accidentally aiding in the resurrection of the man who killed her sister. And Ava is angry at me for sending good agents to their deaths.
Sounds like you're a bit of a douche. No offense.
No, none taken though.
Okay, like, I just love that because it's something that we've been thinking the entire time. Right. It's like, you do all these horrible, terrible things. He's like, yeah, you're kind of a douche. Thank you, Wally, pointing out the obvious.
Yeah, exactly. All right, number 4. What's the last one?
Cowardly offer.
Don't let her. Come on! That was too easy.
You two bonny lasses be the best fighters I've e'er seen. How would you like to join me crew?
You needed a little bit of visual with that, but I think everybody knows the scene. It's just funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's got that scene stuck in their heads between the two girls fighting and the flute. I mean... Yeah. You know, it's just funny.
That's funny. Good stuff.
Great stuff. All right. Well, why don't we move into our scenes? What was your winner from last week?
Sacrifice. And I kind of felt this was going to be the one that won.
By a landslide.
Was it really? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's great stuff. Good stuff by Zara. Here it is.
Sorry.
Sorry, Captain.
My parents are there.
What the hell are you doing?
Look, the force field's not strong enough to contain the explosion.
No, but it'll keep you guys out long enough for me to say what I need to say.
Sorry.
Mick, you don't have to hide what you love. Follow your heart and keep writing.
Sorry, we don't have time for
Nate
this.
and Amaya, I'm so lucky to call you guys my friends.
Sorry, the bomb!
What you guys have is so special. I mean, the way you look at each other honestly makes me want to puke, but don't fight it. You're crazy about each other. Just don't have sex on missions.
See, what are you doing?
What you would do, Ray? You know, when I first came on board, you were so nice and polite to me that I wanted to punch you. But I realize now the world would be a better place if we were all a little more like you. But being nice and polite's only gonna get you so far, so do me a favor and tell Sara why you're so afraid of her.
Okay, sure. But first, I'm gonna figure out how to shut down the force field so we can deal with the bomb.
I am dealing with the bomb.
Sorry, look, you need to listen to me.
Sara,
right?
you are infuriating, stubborn, pain in my ass. Because you have to be. You're not just the captain of this ship, you are its soul. You are so fierce and unflinching. But why not apply some of that fearlessness to your own life and just ask poor Ava out already?
Did you have a meaningful message for me?
Not now, Gary!
Zara, let us in. We can do this together.
No, I have spent so much time with you guys. You're my family now. You deserve to be happy, and if I can be a small part of making that happen, then this will be worth it.
Sorry.
Look, that won't work. You won't be able to contain the explosion. Zara, you don't have to do this.
Sorry! As your captain, I am ordering you to stand down.
You should know by now I'm not good at following orders.
You just told me what a good captain I am, and now you're not gonna listen to me?
Yeah, but this time I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for you. I love you guys.
Sorry.
You know, the fact that she can affect me just in an audio clip just shows how great a performance that was.
Mm-hmm. It was great. That was a good one.
And that's a long clip, but man, it's good. All right, so let's kick off this week's serious scenes, and the first one is going to be called Straightforward.
What's up?
Nothing.
I said, what's up?
Fine, you're an unbiased listener. I want to change my granddaughter, Kwasa's past, and, well, improve her future.
So do it.
It's not that simple. What if I inadvertently change my other granddaughter's destiny?
So don't do it.
And then there's Nate. I still have to go back to 1942 and marry someone else so the Kwasa and Mari are even born. We can never end up together. I feel paralyzed. Every step I take, it feels like it could just have disastrous consequences.
Take a look around. Do you think these people give a damn about consequences? Take the night off. A true pirate doesn't live for tomorrow. They only live for the moment.
Thanks, Mick. But I don't know the first thing about acting like a pirate.
Well, I do.
That was a great one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Amaya just confiding in Mick because he's like we talked about, he's able to pull that out of people somehow, some way. Just lay it out. This is the way it is. And he actually gives okay advice in that moment. He's like, just live for the moment. Look where you are. Let's have some fun with this. And yeah, that was cool.
I know. I liked that one. Okay. So what was your second scene?
Dread Pirate Jiwe.
Listen up. The Dread Pirate Jiwe is looking for a crew.
Your old captain, Blackbeard, buried his treasure on Grace Island. Ah. So you've heard the rumors then, that the treasure is cursed. But while old Blackbeard is afraid of his own shadow, you men, you vile and despicable men, are willing to face Davy Jones himself for a crack at gold and glory. Yeah. Who's willing to join me as we take over Blackbeard's ship?
Yeah. That's just because she was so awesome as the pirate.
She was great. I loved it. Speaking of loving things, I love the name of this next clip.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, we'll see if the title gives anything away, because I had to take a little bit of pride in this one since episode 1, right?
Right.
Flash saw it coming.
You knew this was never going to work out.
Really? Because I'm a mature person who actually can communicate?
Oh, really? Such a communicator. Like when you said you were going to the bathroom?
What are you talking about?
You think I didn't see Gary?
Oh my... Rip broke into the time bureau. I was coming back to the table to tell you.
You know, this is pointless.
Yeah, it is.
We should have never tried to be normal. I'm not normal, all right? I'm never gonna be normal, and I'm not gonna be normal for anyone.
I don't want you to be normal.
You don't?
Hell no.
And
Yay.
the kiss. Exactly.
Finally.
I called it 12 episodes ago or whatever, and this was such a big payoff, and it was awesome.
It was great. It was a great payoff. It was a great scene. I loved it.
It was. Yeah, they really, even though they both, I mean, I follow them both on, I think, Twitter and Instagram, and it looks like they both have fellas in their life, so it's funny that they can create this much chemistry with each other on screen. It's fantastic.
All right. So what was our fourth clip?
The last one I called Guilty Conscience.
Oh, that. Just doing a bit of light theorizing, and then I had a breakthrough. I'm going to develop a liquid for the perfect dry erase marker. Strong viscosity, clean lines.
You're a terrible liar.
Yeah. It's Nora. The nanite pistol is going to kill her. And that's what it's supposed to do. But now I feel...
like a badass.
No. Guilty.
What? You saved Maya.
I know. Doesn't really make sense, except that I met her as a kid.
Well, now she's all grown up and joined the demon side.
Yeah. But you have changed since I first met you. And I hate to break it to you, Mick, but you are a much better person. And maybe Nora could have become one too. There's hope for her anyway, before I took it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I get it, and it's very true to his character, which I completely appreciate. Mm-hmm. But I just hate it that he's now captured.
I know. It was such a good scene, though. Like we said,
yes.
For Mick and Ray to have a scene together again like that, it's been a while, and it was played really well. Very nice.
I agree.
Cool. Well, that's our quotes for this week, guys. Get on the Facebook page as soon as you see them posted, and let's get lots of votes in. I want to start seeing more votes. We've asked for more. We've called for more. I want to see votes up in the 50s, because I know we got hundreds of people listening now. So get up there. Let's have some. I want to have some high numbers in our voting polls.
Yeah, come on, join the fun.
It's fun because you listen to this, you listen to the quotes, and it is everyone's favorite section. So let's get involved. All right, moving on to feedback.
Feedback.
Planetary powers,
And this week, we are going to kick it off with a voicemail from Patty Spivot.
Hey, Flash and Harley, it's Lisa calling in, aka Patty Spivot. I am going to rate this episode an even 8 drunken karaoke nights. I actually, as much as I have mixed feelings about Rip being back, and I actually have mixed feelings about Wally joining the Legends. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with these two. It was really fun to see them show off their singing talent. Who knew? I thought that was kind of a great little injection into the episode. The pirate theme was pretty fun, actually. I really thought Amaya killed it in this episode, as she's been doing lately. The rest of them, why? They just were hanging out on the Wave Rider in their pirate costumes, kind of like they did with the 70s costumes. I don't get why they just don't go home and change, but whatever. I guess they were ready for action. I'm really concerned about Ray. I feel like there's been so many bad things happening to him. I'm scared he's going to stop being so nice. And I'm really, really worried. I hope he told somebody where he was going when he took the gun injection antidote thing to help Nora. I can't wait till next week. I hope he's going to be okay. I'm really worried about what they're going to do with him now and if he's going to be okay, because when they knocked out Sara, I mean, she was out for a long time, so they could have taken her, but now they can take Ray, and nobody seems to be on the beach with him, so I'm kind of worried about that. The Sara Ava thing, I'm kind of digging. It was fun to see them try to have a date and see all of the weird obstacles they had to overcome while they were trying to have a normal night out, which I guess they just can't ever do. It was good to see them figure that out and have a good avenue to improve their communication. That's what relationships are all about. So kind of fun to see them go through some regular people stuff. Yeah, that's it. I'm really, I don't know, I'm liking the last couple of episodes. I still miss Leonard. But I'm getting over it. They're distracting me with good stuff. So really curious to see what the next few episodes are going to bring with the whole Mollis storyline. And they seem to be building lots of little story arcs, and I feel like they're all going to come together in a big boom. So I guess we'll see. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Patty. There you go. That's the first time she felt differently than me on something, huh?
Yes.
She liked the drunken scene.
I almost fell out of my chair.
She's on your side. I'm going to have to have a talk with her right now.
Oh, dear.
No, that's totally fine. But it's funny well, not funny. It kind of breaks my heart to hear her, because I know she really loves Ray. That's one of her favorites as well.
Know.
So she's, that worry you hear in her voice, that's actually very heartfelt.
Oh, Ray, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He's our Boy Scout, the optimist, always the optimist, for better or clearly in this case for worse. So
yeah, exactly. So I hope they deal with it right away next episode, and it's a rescue mission to get Ray.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see what they do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that again. Next is an email from ArcPhase. And he says, "Greetings, Wonder Twins. This has been quite the episode this week. Amaya as Pirate Queen Jiwe. I never know how to say that. Is it Jiwe? Jiwe? Jiwe?
It's like Jiwe or Jiwe, some Jiwe. I don't know.
Anyway, she was amazing. She would make a great pirate even without her totem, which she probably won't be getting back anytime soon. Yeah, good point. Following last week's episode of Sara saying they could change the future to change Zari's past, wouldn't that mean someone from Legends past could do the same? In a way, it would still mean they shouldn't change Zari's past, because that would affect all that's happened now with the Legends. Confusing time-traveling stuff."
Exactly.
Yeah, God, how do you... Because Zari, essentially she's in the past, but she's not in her past. She has not gone to any parts of her life.
That is true.
So she's not really affecting her past, is the way I see it.
Not technically directly, but if they affect enough of even the Legends present, that could potentially drastically affect her future. Which part of that, I mean, she wants, because that's clearly part of what she's trying to change with the whole Argus military state and all that. But you have to wonder how much of that can change and still leave Zari being Zari.
Yeah, good point. Again, and it all calls back to where she's from. We don't know her story, if it ties in at all to Black Adam and everything I've brought up. So yeah, it's hard to say.
Yep.
So he continues, back to the pirates. We really enjoyed the fight scenes this episode. Who's we? Who's he speaking for here? Who knew the ruthless Blackbeard was such a coward? Is Arcface like a multiple personality? Like, what's going on here, Arcface?
I don't know, man. He's your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Despite Dark's evil nature, he surely cares for his daughter a lot. He gave the spirit totem mid-sentence of Ray's bargain with no hesitation at all. Too bad Ray ended up incapacitated afterwards. Yeah, he's right. It was mid-sentence. Boom.
Yeah.
It was also surprising that Ray shot her with his anti-magic gun in the first place, and the guilt knowing that Nora was going to die. He even had a cure made up for it so quickly. I wonder if it has any effects on a normal person or just those with powers. Yeah, see, we have no idea what it's doing. All we see is this glowing effect inside her, so we're not sure what's going on yet.
Yep.
At this point, the legends are at 2 totems, air and earth, while Mollis has 3, water, fire, spirit. Yeah, he's keeping score with you.
Yep.
I wonder if they will find a way to retrieve the physical totem from Kawasa, or if they will leave her merged with its powers. Would Mollis end up killing her to get the water totem? So many questions. And what about the 6th totem? Where, what, or who could it be? Time to wait to find out what happens to Ray next week from Arcface. Yeah. Yep. Good questions. All the same ones we're asking.
I know.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Arcface. Next we have a voicemail from Green Butterfly.
Yo ho, a legend's life for me. Hi, this is your eye in the sky Green Butterfly. Boy, oh boy, do I love pirate episodes. And this was a really strong episode for Amaya, like last week was a strong episode for Zari. Speaking of Zari, you guys have completely convinced me, based on your discussion of last week's episode, and the clips you chose for quote and scene of the week. My attachment to Zari is growing. I can see why it didn't happen initially, because when you played back those scenes, a lot of them also featured Sara having strong scenes and being a wonderful captain, and since I'm so partial to Sara, it somewhat blinded me to Zari's performances. But now, having listened to the podcast, and listening to the clips you provided, I see your point. I have raised my grade to 9 captains doing crosswords for last week. I really appreciate that they showed Ray having remorse for using his new gun on Nora, because this is really consistent for Ray's character. He sees the good in everyone. Don't forget, this is the boy that befriended a dominator and taught him to love musicals. So I'm really glad they put this in. The date was priceless. I loved that part. I love that both of these strong women have people that kind of run amok when they're not around. When the captain's away, the team shall play. And Lord knows we can't leave the world's fate to Gary. So I love that these two ladies are on equal footing here, both having people to watch over and jobs to do. So the date was in Star City. Too bad they couldn't have a Paul Blackthorne guest spot of Sara dropping in to check on her dad. That would have been cool, but I guess there was just too much swashbuckling fun to have time for that. This episode gets 9.5 out of 10 ditched desserts. Have a super week. Green Butterfly out.
She's so awesome. We have to, let's high five Harley. High five. Whack.
Yay.
We converted her to liking Zari more, and that's awesome. We did our jobs.
Yes. I know. It was great. I loved her feedback. She had so many good points.
Yeah. I love that she loves pirates and everything too. That was fun. Always fun to listen to you, Green Butterfly. Thanks for sending that in. And our last feedback, if you want to take those, is from Karina Lucas.
Sure. She says, "Hey, Wonder Twins, will the legends ever learn that they need Sara to guide them? It was proven more than once that when they decide to do things without her, something always goes wrong." Yes.
Totally, yes. Actually, she's bang on. That has happened every single time.
Yes. I loved that Amaya was the main character this week because it proved once again what a great asset she is. Plus, she was really hot with that pirate clothes on and using her real accent.
Yeah.
I know.
Actually, well, to just answer that, both you and Green Butterfly also loved how great a performance she was, and that this episode centered around her. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys appreciated that, too.
Uh-huh. Talking about hot, Sara and Ava were amazing. They're perfectly not normal for each other, and my heart's really happy with this relationship. I just wish the CW would stop asking the shows to shoot kisses between two women with terrible light, as it happened a lot on Supergirl, or with their backs to the camera. Give us a proper kiss, people. Oh, I'm sure we'll get one by the end of the season.
Yeah. I mean, this one between Ava and Sara was pretty passionate, so...
It was.
Heat of the moment kind of stuff, yeah.
For sure. All right, I understand why Ray saved Nora, and I do believe that during those few seconds when she touched his face, she was really thankful, but I don't think she was willing to disappoint her dad letting Ray go. I can't wait for next week to see how this will unfold, and it's always great to see real-life couples act together, especially if they're enemies. I think I missed something.
Yeah, I think it was her that someone posted a video about real life couples, a YouTube clip on our Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't get a chance to look at it yet, but I think there's a couple actors or characters on our show that are actually a couple in real life, and we should.
Oh, is Brandon? I forget the actress's name that plays Nora, but are they together?
I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch the video, so I don't know who it is that's together. But that's what she's referring to, and that's why it's kind of interesting to get to see them act opposite each other. It's makes it kind of fun.
Yeah, interesting.
Gets to work out their differences on screen, I guess.
Yeah, she's totally on board with you though, with thinking that Nora was genuine, whereas I think she's just pure evil.
Yeah. I challenge you to go watch that moment again, just to see Damien's look on his face, and just see if you read what I was seeing, that there was a moment there I think she was genuine until she touched his face. That's when it switched. Okay.
Anyway, I'll get to her rating because she gave this episode 9 Captain Jiwe rum bottles. Until next time, Karina.
Thanks,
that was
Karina.
A nice touch.
That was a cool touch at the end too. I love that. Captain Jiwe rum. Yeah, pretty fun. Pretty fun. Awesome feedback, guys, this week. Thanks to everybody. As for the rest of you, if you want to get in on that and be on the show with us, this is how you do it.
If you would like to be part of the show, you can send in feedback to tomorrowslegends@gmail.com, spelled with one R. You can also reach us on Twitter at tomorrowslegends, also with one R. Join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/tomorrowslegends and become part of the community.
Awesome, guys. That is the end of the week for us.
It is. It was a good show, though.
It was fun.
A lot of fun.
We're still on a roll, and you said we got 5 left, so what are they going to do? How are they going to wrap this up? How are they going to save Ray? We got lots of things to figure out.
Yeah, it's going to be fast and furious, right to the end.
But I can't wait. You know what? It's going to suck when our show ends, because it has been so good. I don't want it to end. They're going to leave us on a cliffhanger or some story-altering ending like they did last season. You know they're going to.
They always do.
And I don't want it to happen, but they're going to do it. That's okay.
Yep.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. Well, everybody, I hope you stick with us right through to the end. Like I said, we're at the beginning. Don't forget to enter the contest. We're giving stuff away. Check out Facebook. You'll see me wearing one of the shirts today. I posted it. It's awesome. It looks great. So get in on that. And we would love to have some people check out the merchandise and get something. All right. Well, until next week, this is The Flash signing off.
And this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Find our show in Apple Podcasts, where you can leave a rating and review. We'd love that. You can also find us on Google Play Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher. Please share the show, and thanks for listening.